Welcome to Craig County, Virginia's tiny library. Today we're going to be reading a book that's really special to me because I was privileged to be one of the editors on the book. And it was written by a friend of mine, Yvette Grove, in Dallas, Texas. The book is very appropriate for today because it deals with kids who want to be like everyone else. And it points out throughout the book that it's important for us to appreciate each other's differences. Lily wakes up and everything in her world is the same. And she realizes how wrong this is, that all of us need to appreciate each other's differences and be kind to one another and treat each other with respect. Okay, kids, let's get together and read this book. Welcome to Craig County's tiny library for Story Time with Grandma Jane. The book we're going to read today was written by a friend of mine. Her name is Yvette Grove. And she found an idea in her mind one morning and she decided she would write this book. It's called Lily's Deliciously Different Day. Plunk! Lily dropped in the chair, her eyes pooled with tears. Why can't I just be like everyone else, she said. Jen and her friends are perfect. No one makes fun of them. Oh, Lily, how awful boring the world would be if we were all the same. I think you're wonderful just the way you are, Lily's mother said. I think it would be just perfect. With that, Lily headed to bed with visions of perfect hair and absolutely nothing that would make her stand out. The morning sun peeked past the drapes. Lily rubbed her eyes. She had the strangest feeling as she looked around the room. Everything sort of looks the same. Eek! Where are my clothes? Maybe Mother's playing a trick on me, she thought. Lily dressed in a hurry and started toward the door. Lily's steps became slower and slower as she walked through the house, confused by the furniture. Surely Mother was taking this lesson a little too far. I have no time to worry about this. I must get to school, Lily murmured. Bye, she called as she turned the doorknob to leave. Egad, Lily gasped. The houses, the shutters, even the dogs, everything on the block looks exactly the same. Click-clack, click-clack. Lily kept walking, her heart racing faster than her footsteps. What did I do? Miss May's garden is up ahead. It will make everything all right. It always does, she said to herself as she picked up the pace. Gulp. Her heart dropped and her stomach twisted into a horrible knot as she reached her favorite place, only to find gone were the different flowers, the birds and the butterflies, the bees and the beetles, just beds of the same flower and a single hummingbird. Lily headed to school and saw her best friend Daisy standing at the corner. Why the sad face? And what's with that bug following you? Giggled Daisy. Looking up, Lily noticed Hummingbird had followed her from Mrs. May's garden. I don't know, frowned Lily. She and a few boring flowers are all that's left in the garden. I'm Ruby, and I'm not a bug, announced the Hummingbird. Both girls looked at the bird and then at each other. You can talk? They said at the same time. This day just keeps getting stranger, said Lily. As the girls were approaching the playground, Lily shrieked, Slides! Nothing but slides! No swings, no merry-go-round, no jungle gym, just slides. The girls entered the school. What's going on here? Asked Daisy. Where are all the other classes? After hours, the same math class, Lily headed to band practice. How bad could that be, she thought. Brrr. Lily peeked around the corner. Trombones? Really? Just trombones? For that, she dropped to the floor and crawled under the trombone slides to get to her seat. It was the same note over and over again. Just like that, the day kept getting worse. Ruby joined the girls as they walked home. "So how was your day?" hummed Ruby. "Just awful," frowned Lily. "I did this, didn't I?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I just wanted to fit in and be like everyone else." "I never imagined it would be like this," said Lily sadly. "Precious Lily, not only is it delicious to be different, but it's necessary for the whole world to work," hummed Ruby. Delicious and necessary? Yes, just as each instrument, every note, all school subjects, and creatures in the garden are important, the world needs each one of us to be ourselves. The sun began to set, and Lily's heart rose higher as she realized it was dinner time. "Bye, Dizzy. Bye, Ruby." She hurried home to dream of a world that was back to normal, a world that was deliciously different. The next morning, Lily sat up and looked around the room and leaped out of bed. "Whee!" she said. She ran to her closet and picked out her frilliest, most colorful dress, and then hurried out the door. She seemed to float on air as she skipped down the street to Mrs. May's garden, past all the beautifully different houses and adorably different dogs. "Ruby," she called with delight as she ran to the garden. "The flowers, butterflies, and bees," she sang. She could not be happier. "You seem different today," flitted Ruby. "Oh, yes," laughed Lily, "deliciously different." As was her world, the houses, the garden, and everything at school, but best of all, Lily herself. Cool. So you can see from the theme of the book that it's very important for kids to know that it's okay to be different and that we should appreciate differences. And it's very appropriate for this year because we've seen so much prejudice and hatred and things like that, that we need to learn to get along with each other, even if we are very different in our ideas and if we believe different things, to respect those differences and to appreciate them because they do make the world go around. Also, join us next time. If you're local, you can come by the library and check the book out or find other children's books that are really good and discuss those things with your children. They're almost never too young to talk about some of these things because they're experiencing them every day at school. So join us again. Come by and check out the book. And if you can't check it out, if you're not local, you can also find Lily's Deliciously Different Day on Amazon. We'll see you again next time.